Hello and welcome to the Adobe Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Adobe. My name is Terry White, worldwide design and photography evangelist for Adobe. And it's my pleasure to stream live here for the next couple of hours on this fine Tuesday morning. For those of you who are watching live, welcome. I saw some folks like Star Crunch and Winter07 and Paul and Victoria and Anna. You're totally not here. So welcome everyone that's here, that whether you spoke up or not, and whether I saw your name or not, welcome anyway. And for those of you who are watching this as a video on demand or a replay later, perhaps on my YouTube channel, know that this is a live show that I typically do on Tuesdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. till noon Eastern time, and at 7 and 9 Pacific, of course. And because it is live, there are people in the live virtual studio audience that I will address as their comments and questions come up that I can address, and I will try my best to repeat those for people watching on platforms other than Twitch, where you don't actually get to see the questions. If you want to participate, just join us live here on Tuesdays and Fridays. Or you can come to the Twitch channel pretty much anytime, 7 days a week. There's usually someone here streaming something creative all day, every day. So with that said, today we're going to do a continuation of what I left off on Friday. We did a 2-hour thing on how to contribute to Adobe Stock. We did the whole 9 yards of explaining what Adobe Stock was, the new contributor program, the new contributor portal, the ins and outs, model releases, the whole 9 yards. And today we're just going to I'm not going to do slides. I'm just going to do a continuation of getting content ready. And of course, I'll answer questions along the way. Nice to see you too, Anna Jean. Even if you're normally still in bed, I'd normally still be in bed. Well, not this late, but I'd like to normally still be in bed this late. Let's see, what else was I going to say? I was going to say something else about today. We're going to start off with a video because I left off with a video on Friday and I didn't really do it justice. So we're going to start with that. By the way, the 2 pieces of content I did upload, which was a still and a video clip, a drone video, both of those did get approved. The video just got approved yesterday. So it took Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so 4 days. And I think the still got approved like the next day or the day after. So it took 1 or 2 days for the still to get approved. And we're also, if time permits, which I think it will, we might create a graphic design from scratch as well and just kind of put that up on stock. So just kind of giving you just a round or well-rounded view of the kinds of content and how to get it ready for stock. All right, the chat's pretty busy here. I'm just watching. Jan, glad you're here. Winter07, hello, Victoria. Okay, so just making sure I'm not missing any major comments here. There still seems like there was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember what it is, so maybe it'll come up later. Oh, I know one thing I wanted to say was a couple of corrections from Friday as well. So one, we actually corrected on the stream. It was when someone said in the comments, hey, you can't sell stock images of the Eiffel Tower. And I was like, I've got a stock image, at least one of the Eiffel Tower on stock. And then someone brought up in the comments, which they were absolutely right, that if you shoot it during the day, where it's just the Eiffel Tower, you don't need a property release for that. But if you shoot it at night, where they have the light show, like the Eiffel Tower lights up with all these different patterns, that light show is copyrighted. So that was the confusion, that during the day where it's just the Eiffel Tower, no problem. You can upload your images for Adobe Stock on those. But if it's at night while that light show is going on, no, those will not be approved because that light show is copyrighted. Someone put that together, someone designed it, someone, is making money, I guess, off that every night. So that's why you're not able to upload stills or videos of that light show. One of the other ones I wanted to correct was someone said, well, how often do you get paid from Adobe Stock? And I was correct in saying that payout doesn't happen until you reach at least $50. Where I made the mistake was and I don't know why I even said this because I know better, that it was automatic, meaning that you get paid automatically every time you hit $50, and that's not true. What's true is that you can request payment once you hit $50 at any time, but you have to request it. And it is, the other one, I remember now, the other one was that I said, well, I know it's PayPal because that's the way I request payment. And I couldn't remember, I thought there was a second form of payment, and there is, but it's not a check. In other words, Adobe Stock doesn't mail you anything. It's either PayPal or another PayPal-like service, which I still can't even think of the name of it because I don't use it. I think it's for people outside of the US. But whatever it is, that you can go on Adobe Stock and find out what those two payment forms are. But for people here in the US, most likely you'll use PayPal. And it is not automatic. It's once you hit $50, you can go into your account and say, at any point past $50, pay me. And they will transfer. You can even convert how much of your credits over to cash that you want. So let's say you made $50 in commissions off your stock, or let's say $52, and you say, well, I only want to be paid $51 for whatever reason. I'm making up an example. You can say from 50 on up how much of that money you want to be transferred over to you in PayPal. So I think those were the main corrections I wanted to make sure I got on record or on this recording for people that that were watching on Friday. Or even if you go back and watch the replay where I said some of those things I wasn't sure about, I got my corrections for this morning on those things. Okay. Yes, if you're going to Paris, definitely get some shots and hopefully get some good ones that you can upload to Adobe Stock. Also, don't forget video. Okay, so I think I got everything. Hey, Cody Bear. I think I got everything that I wanted to talk about. So let's jump right into the video aspect of what we're going to do today. Let me do one thing. Here, let me switch cameras first. And let's see if this works. And okay, we're switching cameras. And so right now you're looking at Photoshop. I'm going to launch Premiere. And last week on Friday, here's what I did. I was in Lightroom. And in Lightroom, I was in my, my Iceland folder. And in my Iceland folder, I had some video footage here somewhere. And this is what I was struggling with last time, was actually just finding the video footage. Anyway, here, let's do this. Let's just filter for it. So, metadata, no, let's do attribute. Attribute and video. Okay, so these are, of course, video. Most of these are drones. Some of these are just iPhone videos. What I did was, I think it was on this one. Here, we can see in a minute. Maybe not. But anyway, all I did was basically trim. Yeah, it was this one. I trimmed it down to the 15 or so seconds that I wanted. And then I exported just that piece of this right from Lightroom. And I mentioned this before, and I said one of the things that I didn't like about the drone footage, and one of the things I wanted to do going forward, this was just a down and dirty quick thing to show you how video worked, but what I would really want to do now, and by the way, that video did get approved, but what I really want to do is correct for the curvature, the lens distortion. So most of these wide angle, super wide angle cameras have a bit of fisheye to them. So whether it's a GoPro, DJI Phantom, or any of those kind of super wide angle lenses, you'll have that curvature around the edges because that's what it's doing to get so wide. Luckily, there is a way to correct for that, even automatically in Premiere Pro. Now, Lightroom can do it for the stills, but you can't take the Lightroom, you can't edit Lightroom, you can't edit video in the Lightroom Develop module. So there's no way to apply that for Lightroom like you would for stills. Now, if I shot a still and it was like, if this were a still and it was curved, it would detect what camera it came from, and I'd be able to click the profile and it would straighten it right up. But for video, you can't take the video into the develop module. Now, there was that thing that I was trying to do that I just could not get to work, and it was capture a frame, and hang on, which I did. I think I did capture a frame, and it's supposed to put that frame right here. It's probably because I'm right back into, yeah, it did, right back into the same collection. Now, the trick is that you're supposed to be able to, and maybe it'll work since I'm doing it this way, you're supposed to be able to select both of them, starting with the frame and then the video. And since you can take the still into the develop module, correcting the still was supposed to correct the video. It did not work for me because I was trying it a different way. Let me try it this way. If this doesn't work, it doesn't matter because we're going into Premiere either way. But let's go to lens corrections. Now, it won't automatically detect because that still didn't really come from the camera directly. I just captured a still frame. But let's try it. Let's say that this is DJI, and it's from the Phantom. I don't even see mine. Vision. Yep, there it is. And that corrected it. Now, did it correct the video? I don't think so, but let's go back and look. All right, let's see. Yeah, see, it didn't. There are other things you can do in the develop module, but correcting lens distortion isn't one of them with that trick. So forget about it. You still need to go into a product like Premiere to correct that lens distortion. What drone do I use? And Terry, does your Lightroom use GPU for video playback and such? Okay, so those are two separate questions. The first question is, this was all shot with a DJI, an old Phantom 2 Vision Plus. So this is like 2 to 3 generations old now. And I have a Mavic Pro on order, so I can't wait for that to come in. But this is certainly not the best you'd get from a drone today. You know, with a Phantom 3 or a Phantom 4, you can shoot in 4K. The cameras are much, much better than what I'm getting with this. But still, this is good enough to make money from from a stock footage perspective, and especially if you're shooting gorgeous locations like Iceland. So that answers that question. The second question was, does Lightroom use the GPU for video? I don't think so, because the GPU is mostly for accelerating the develop module, and since you're not taking video into the develop module, I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. All right. Make sure I got everything else. It appears to have overcorrected. Yeah, in that case, it might have, because, again, that still wasn't really a still from the camera still. It was a screen capture. So it probably did overcorrect it with that one I did. I just wanted to see would it work on the video. The still that we corrected before was right on the money, because it was a raw from the camera, and it had already picked the right. Here, let me go find one. I'll show you what I mean. Rather than explain it, let me show it. Let's go here. So this time I do want metadata, and I do want shots. So these are stills shot with that camera, not videos. So in the case, it's still going to have the same curvature. So let's say we pick this one. If we take this still over to the develop module, all we have to do now is enable the profile corrections, and there it corrects it perfectly, because it knows exactly what that was, because that's in the EXIF data of the still. So that's the difference. Now, it's still crooked. That's, not the camera's fault. That's my fault. So I would still go in and straighten out the horizon line here with something like that, and then we'd have a much better look at it. But that's the correction it should have put on it. And again, that's because this was actually a raw file coming from the camera versus me taking a screen grab from the video. All right, you see, okay, thanks. Yep, you got it, good. Unless you're not talking to me, but cool. All right. Okay, so that's where we left off. We were working with this drone footage, And that's the problem I ran into, is that I wanted to correct the curvature, and I can't do that in Lightroom because I can't take the video into the develop module. I can take the stills all day long, but the stills aren't the problem. So we're going to get out of Lightroom for this. We can get back to that, and we're going to go now to uphold. I'm reading a comment here, I guess. Okay. I'm glad you understand. All right, let's go. Let's go launch Premiere. All right, so Premiere has that same ability to detect the footage and auto-correct the things like the curvature for video. Same thing I was doing with Lightroom with that still. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a whole new project for all of these. And we're going to call it Iceland drone footage. That's the project we're going to create. We're going to go ahead and put this in a folder out on my desktop so I'd be able to get rid of it when I'm ready to. And we'll call this folder Iceland video. All right, create, choose, and everything else is okay. So we just click OK, and that will create a brand new empty Premiere project. Now, I know people are like, you're doing Premiere? Yeah, I normally don't do Premiere on my stream because I save that for Jason. Jason is our, Beetle Jace is our digital video and audio worldwide evangelist. So why take his thunder? I leave all the video work to him. But in this case, I do need video, so I'm going to go ahead and do my own. All right, so now out here on the desktop somewhere, I should have a folder. I guess I didn't keep it, so let's go back and go get it again. It's in here, and it's in here, and there it is. So these are all the video clips from that shoot. Now, notice these two don't have the Iceland name because they're corrupted. I can't open them. I can't do anything with them. And I'll tell you a funny story about this. This is like my third or fourth corrupted video from that drone, and it's not the drone's fault. It's my fault. First time this happened was back in August when I was in Tennessee. I was flying the drone and flying it, capturing all kinds of cool video from a family outing, got everything I wanted. And then I noticed that the drone was running low on battery. So I was like, oh my God, I got to bring it down. I got to bring it down because I don't want it to crash. I don't want it to fall out of the sky. So I brought it down and in a panic, landed it and turned it off. Like shut everything down because I was like, oh God. What I forgot to do was stop the recording. So that does not happen automatically if you just turn everything off. It does not gracefully exit the recording mode. So all that footage I shot was almost gone, meaning the file was corrupted. I tried every trick in the book to open it. I could not open it. I ended up using, because that footage was important to me, I ended up using an online service, which I don't even remember which one it was, to recover that file. In other words, I could upload the video file. If it would work, they would show you a preview of the footage. I was like, oh my God, there's my video. And I had to pay them ransom money basically to get that footage back. So if you're flying a drone, always remember to stop the recording before you worry about turning everything off. Otherwise, your video could be corrupted. Now, these two I'm not too worried about because I seem to remember when both of these happened, it was the same kind of thing where I turned off everything before I remembered to stop the recording. And those weren't that important to me to where I would need to recover them. But all of these are good. So all of these MP4s, which came from the drone, are good. Now this MOV and this MOV, those are iPhone videos. I don't need those for this process. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag all of these drone videos in. I'm not going to use them all, but I'm going to, drag them in, and we did. There we go. And now we'll go ahead and go to Premiere. All right, so now they're all in the project. And some of these I'm not going to use. I don't care about the ones with people in them, or at least not those parts. I really am just interested in the actual footage itself. So I know in this one, this was kind of like my last one where I was like just doing a kind of one of those farewell shots where I zoomed away from me. And that one I don't really care about because it was more just for the video I was working on, not so much for selling on stock. So that one I probably won't use. As a matter of fact, I can even delete that one out of the project because I'm not going to use it. But some of these other ones, even though there are people in them, there's other parts where there aren't people in it where I would go ahead and use it. Now this one, let me see which one it is. I think it's this one. Yeah, this is, let's just start with this one. So this is the Gull Falls waterfall. And this particular video is 2 minutes long. Stock video, when you're going to sell it on Adobe Stock, can be anywhere from 5 seconds up to 60 seconds. So I can't just upload this whole thing because it's already too long. And I'm okay with that. I would normally trim it down to just the part that was important anyway, as opposed to giving someone parts of a video that's just waste of space, waste of time that they're not going to use. So what I want to do now is take at least one, if not more than one, usable clip from this 2 minutes to use on stock. All right, so that's what we want to do. Now, I can do this one of two ways. I can double click on it and it will open up in the source window, and then I can go and find the pieces I want. Or I can drag it over to the timeline, to the sequence area, and it will create a timeline that I can cut it up the way I want. It's either way is fine. It just either way is up to you. Now, these automatically, because they came from the drone, don't have any audio to them. So I don't have to worry about taking the audio out. But if you are shooting video with your regular camera or, smartphone, DSLR, video camera, whatever, and you're going to sell that on stock, then you probably want to remove the audio anyway because no one's really buying it for the audio. They're buying it for the video. And I don't know that the audio will hurt you, but it certainly doesn't help you. Problems with CUDA on my machine. What are the settings in Premiere to switch to OpenCL? Or is that a per project basis? Jan's asking a question about CUDA, and he wants to know about how to switch to OpenCL, and it is a per project basis. So when I created that new project, it asked me, I didn't change it because it was on what I wanted, but it asked me which performance engine I wanted to use, and I was using I'm using Mercury software playback, which I think in this case is OpenCL. Okay, so which way do I want to do it? All right, let's try it in the source window first. I'm double clicking on it, and now it's the entire video. So the whole 2 minutes of it is up here. And notice there is no audio track because there isn't one, so I don't have to worry about that. And like, this is what I mean by wasted space, where it took the drone time to get over to the waterfall and for me to get my bearings right. I don't need any of that. That is just wasted video. Okay, so now where we start flying over the waterfall, that's where it starts to become useful. So Premiere and I can do all of this from the keyboard. There are people that just edit strictly from the keyboard. They almost never touch the mouse. I'm going to show you where to click on things, but know that there are keyboard shortcuts for all of this. So I'm going to set my endpoint, meaning that's where I kind of want this edit to start. I don't need anything before that. Don't throw it away, but I just don't need any of it. So now we can say start there, and then I can fly over. And keep in mind that I don't need it to be any longer than it needs to be. So I would say, let me see how much worse this gets. You see, I'm kind of turning and trying to decide which way to fly now. So I would say at that point, it's not usable anymore past this point. So I would say right about here would be right where I turn. Maybe right there would be that's the usable part of that first part of the clip. So I'm going to go ahead and say, set my out point there. Now, that means that I have that much of a clip to use. Now, it doesn't mean that the rest of it I don't have usable spots. It just means for right now, from there to there, that's the part that I want to turn into a usable clip to use on stock. So at this point, I can now drag this down to the timeline area, and it will create a new timeline of 27 seconds. And it does not have to be exact, so it doesn't have to be 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be 15. It could be anything from 5 to 60, 5 to 60 seconds, and anything in between, 6 seconds, 8 seconds, whatever. In this case, I've got 27 seconds of video. Now, one of the things that will kind of maybe shock you, especially if you're not used to working with video, is that sounds awfully short. That does not sound like a long video. And it's not. But and it's not in terms of like motion picture. 27 seconds is short. But think about this. The average commercial you see on TV is 30 seconds long. And it's usually never of just one long continuous thing. So 27 seconds in terms of stock is a long video. That's why the minimum is 5 seconds. Because what people will typically do with footage like this is take pieces of it. 2 seconds here, 3 seconds there, 1 second there, half a second there, and put it together to make the actual video. So 27 seconds is plenty for the person that's going to use this as part of a larger project. Now, with that said, now that I got my 27 seconds over here on the timeline, and again, I may go back and get some more of that one clip, but now that I've got this over here, what do I want to do with it? Well, I don't need to do any fancy, no titling, no fading in and out or any of that, because you're selling the raw clip for people to do all that with once they download it. But what I want to do is get it looking better. In other words, correct the curvature, correct the, to me, these are a little overexposed for my taste, so correct those kinds of things. So that's what I would do with this video at this point. So now, first and foremost, let's get the curvature together. So let's, or out of it. So over in the effects panel, so we were in the project panel, which has all your clips. In the effects panel, what we're going to do is, I have no idea. I mean, I could probably figure it out, but it's probably under video effects or maybe presets. But I have no idea where the correction profiles are for the DJI Phantom Vision 2. I have no idea where it is. But what I can do, thankfully, the Premiere team put in a search. So if I just type in Phantom, there it is, Phantom 2 Vision 1080. That's what I shot with. So all I'd have to do now is just drag that 1080 one over to the top, put it anywhere on top of my clip, and it corrects it. That's it. So now I've corrected it, and it does not have, it does not have any of that curvature anymore. Now, you may lose, of course, because in order to fix the curvature, just like most things, it might have to zoom it up a little bit or crop it a little bit. You may lose part of the edges of your video as a result. So you have to decide what's more important, the video looking straight or keeping the edges. And in this case, I'd rather have the video looking straight. All right, so now that's been done, and you notice that it's got this red bar on it. This red bar means that it might need to be rendered in order to play it back in real time. It also depends on the speed of your computer. So if I hit the space bar on this, and since I'm streaming and running all this stuff in the background, the playback is not smooth at all. So in this case, it's like not even moving right now. It's telling me right now I'd probably want to render this if I really need to see it play back in real time. I don't need to see it play back in real time. I'm okay with this clip the way it is. Now what I can also do is bring up, and here I had this panel up already because I normally use it, but what this panel is, and it's one of my favorite panels in Premiere, is under the window menu, if you go to Lumetri Color, the Lumetri Color panel is like Lightroom for video. It's like the develop module for video. You get simple, easy sliders. And that's what I love about it, is that I don't have to use all these terms and things that I don't know about from a video world, But I right off the bat see white balance, exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, all the things I'm used to from the develop module in photography in Lightroom. So if you bring up that Lumetri color panel and you click on the basic correction, then you will get the sliders that you're already familiar with to make your corrections to your video. So for example, I've got this clip selected. If I wanted to lower the exposure of it, I could lower the exposure. I don't want to lower it. Certainly don't want to lower it by that much. But I do want to darken the shadows maybe a little bit. I want to bring down the whites a little bit. And perhaps bring up the contrast just a hair. And everything else, the white balance I'm okay with. And if you want it, you could maybe saturate it a little more. Here's the thing you don't want to do with anything you're submitting to stock. You don't want to overdo it, because what will happen is what you're trying to do as far as creating an effect. If you overdo it, if you overprocess your photos or overprocess your videos, chances are they might not get approved because you've overdone it. So let me see. I see a couple questions here. It'd be nice to contribute to Adobe Stock 157,000 makes subpar video. Okay. Your smartphone might even make better video now. Yeah, and Jan, that's the attitude. You never know until you try. So if you're looking at it, like for example, some of my videos that I've shot with this particular drone, I'm like, it's okay. It's not Discovery Channel, but it's good, and they get approved, so I'm happy. So you never know till you try. And I know right now from a content desire that Adobe Stock is definitely in need of more video. So you never know. Now, of course, if it's garbage, meaning even if I submit garbage, it'll get declined. So you never know till you try. And you can always try with just one clip and see what happens. Is it best to submit the video flat or edit it? Will the buyers usually make their own post-process? It depends. So Jan is asking, is it best to submit the video flat or edit it? Will the buyers usually make their own corrections? It depends. So that's why I said I'm not doing a ton to this. I'm not doing a ton of correction. I'm just making it look slightly better than it was. I'm not trying to overprocess it for that reason. Because if it's too processed, then A, it could be declined, and B, it may be less desirable for the video editor that wants to use this and color code or color grade it and do all the things they want to do to it. So that's why I'm trying not to do a ton to it. But anyway, so we have our slightly corrected video, which again, I'm just making it look a little better than it was, and trying not to overdo it. And is it better to submit flat? Maybe. I don't want to say yes or no, because I don't think it will hurt you or necessarily help you, because it really depends on who's buying it. If the person that's buying it is sophisticated and they know what they're going to do with the video and they're going to use it and whatever, then yeah, they probably do want it flat so that they can color grade it and do everything they want with the rest of the video they're going to be using. If it's someone that's just using that to drop it into a presentation like a PowerPoint or something, then they're not going to be, they're going to want something that looks a little bit better than a flat video. So that's why it depends on the buyer. So we'd have to really know who's buying video. Is it people that are going to really know what they're doing with editing? Or is it the consumer that's going to take the video you gave them and just drop it into something and use it? It just depends on who that person is. Okay, so let's say this is all we're going to do to it, and that is all we're going to do to it. We're not going to go into creative. We're not going to go into color wheel. We're not going to do a whole bunch of editing. Not going to vignette it. Not going to do any of that. Just some basic correction. All right, so now that I've done that, this particular clip is ready to go. I've done everything I wanted to do to it. I took the curvature out of it. I touched it up a little bit from a tone standpoint. And now I'm in Premiere Pro, saving my project automatically. And now what I want to do is get this particular one ready to go from a from a exported out standpoint. So to do that, and I was going to do a keyboard shortcut, but I'll show it to you under the menu. It is export. So you make, now see how, and by the way, this is for new to Premiere users. See how this panel has a blue line around it? That's because that's the one in focus versus this one having a blue line around it versus this one having a blue line around it. So you want to make sure your timeline is the one that's in focus before you do this, because otherwise you'll be exporting the wrong thing. File, export, and if I go media, then I will get the choice of how I want to export this. In other words, what format do I want? And how do I want it to be exported from the standpoint of, do I want it to be exported via the media encoder, which is a separate application that comes with Creative Cloud or with Premiere or with however it comes with Creative Cloud. Or do I want to export it directly? In other words, don't wait, export it, do it now directly from Premiere. So I always do it from the queue, because then that does it in the background. I've got more I could work on more while it's doing it. Now here's the part of it that that people struggle with the most. What format do I put it in? And normally, if you were exporting this for any other reason, I would say put it in H.264 and choose what you want. So like, for example, if you were going to put this up on YouTube, you'd go choose YouTube 1080p HD, and it would make a YouTube friendly, export, or Vimeo or Apple TV or Android or iOS, whatever you're trying to export it to. But in this case, since it created that timeline based on what the video was, meaning that drone video, that phantom video, I'm going to just say match source high bitrate, meaning I'm going to leave it on the default, because that'll just basically make a video like the one that came in using the exact same settings. Now you can say export audio even though there is no audio, so you don't have to worry about it. It's not going to do anything. But I have found that sometimes unchecking export audio, I don't think it's a problem with stock, but in other places where I've tried to import things where the audio track is completely gone, it doesn't like it. Like, it rejects it, thinking there's something wrong with the video. So I'd rather export audio even though there is no audio than to turn that off when there is audio, just as a way to get rid of it, because that could screw up the format for whatever it is you're importing it into. I don't think that's a problem with stock, but just it's better to remove the audio from the timeline and still say export audio than it is to just leave the audio in the timeline and turn that off. All right, I think I got everything else. It's going to do the whole 27 seconds. Now, when I send this over to the queue, what's going to happen is it's going to launch Adobe Media Encoder. So I see Adobe Media Encoder on my dock. You can't see it, but I see it launching now. And here we'll bring it up to the foreground so you guys can see it once it comes up. It takes a few seconds because it's a healthy program with a lot of plugins to launch. All right, let me see, what am I doing here as far as questions? Yes, all these export settings scare me. I know, you and most people. But the beauty is, if you just go straight to H.264, okay, so here comes the media encoder. If you go straight to H.264, then from there, it's a lot, I don't know why, oh, okay, I was going to say, I don't know why I have that media browser there. It's a lot better. I'm sorry, folks. There's a bunch of stuff in here that I don't need. Okay, I don't know why I have all these other projects in here. All right, I'm going to delete them. Oh, I think I know why I have all those other projects in there, because I think it's using a watch folder. Okay, but anyway, so there's the one project I need. And now I can tell it, if I click start, which is the green button up here, it'll start exporting that. And this again is a separate application. This is the Adobe Media Encoder, so that I can throw that in the background and let it cook as long as it takes. And while I go back to Premiere and keep working. And I can keep sending stuff to it and it'll just keep processing. Now, the only other thing I might change is where it's going to go, because right now it's just going to throw it loose on the desktop. So I might click on that and say, instead of just putting it loose on the desktop, why don't we put it in a new folder on the desktop called for Adobe Stock. That way we'll know where it's going, where it ends up. Okay, so save. And so now that's where it's going to go, and I can go ahead and click start, and it will just start processing that video. So there it is. It will take however long it takes to do it. And again, I don't have to wait for it. I can go back to Premiere and keep working. Okay, now normally, in your video editing process, you're editing your clips together to make a longer video, to make like a video. In this case, I want clips. In other words, that timeline is done. I don't want to add anything to it. I'm not trying to make two clips together. I want a new timeline. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go in, back to the project. And let's see, how do I want to do this? I want a new sequence. Okay, I know how I'll do it. I'll do a new sequence from this clip. So I'm going to right click, new sequence from clip. That'll give me a brand new timeline and put that whole clip on it. Now I can get rid of that clip. And the reason I like to do it that way versus going file or edit new or sequence, new sequence is I don't know where new sequence is, as a matter of fact. I think it's under file. Yeah, file, new sequence. Instead of doing it that way, I don't have to pick any settings. By saying new sequence from clip, again, it'll do the same thing. It'll make a sequence, a timeline that's based on those same settings from the video. Since we're still in the same kind of video, it doesn't matter. So that's why I made it and then just got rid of the video off that timeline. So now we have the original one we worked on. That's the one we just finished, that's rendering. And then we have this new one that's now empty. So now I can go through this one and say, is there anything else in here I want? So we did all those kind of weird turns, weird jerkiness there. And okay, I kind of like that one where it's flying away. So now I'll start maybe where it's stabilized, maybe right there. Set my new endpoint to that. And as we fly away from the waterfall, to maybe where we're going to do that first little jerky turn, right there. And I don't think there's anything else useful after this that I would want. So that's it for that clip. So I just want that next piece, drop it down, and we would, again, go back and do the same things to it. If we want to color correct it, we can. If not, we definitely want to at least flatten it. So I'm going to take that 1080 Phantom Vision 2 our preset, and that will, of course, take the curvature out. Now, can I keep the curvature in and again let the video producer that's going to download this do it? Yes, I did it for the first one that we did on Friday. I did not remove the curvature. So it's totally up to you. If you think, like for example, if I think that's cutting too much of that off, let's undo and take that off of that. So this is with the curvature. See how it's curving around the edges there? That's the way it would look if I left the natural fisheye look in it versus correcting for it, and then I lose those edges because it has to zoom it up a little bit to get rid of that curvature. So it would be up to you. In this case, I think it looks better without it, even though we don't see as much of the top of the waterfall as we would. But I'm going to sacrifice that and say, okay, so now I could, again, go into the Lumetri panel, adjust exposure, adjust things, but I'm going to keep this one flat. So we'll have an example of each, one that's flat, one that's not. So now, same thing, rinse and repeat, export, media, match source, send it over to the queue, The queue's already running, so it's just going to add another one to it. It's going to put it in the desktop, so we need to put it back in that same folder for Adobe Stock. And probably want to give it a different name since that one's going to have that name. So we can say that this one's going to be number 2. All right. So now that one, as soon as the first one's finished, it'll start rendering that one. So that's what I mean by, that's why I like using Media Encoder, because I can just keep rocking and rolling while Media Encoder is doing all the heavy lifting in the background. Yes, you can, Jan. So that's a long time feature of Premiere Pro. So the question is, Jan's asking, so you can have multiple timelines or several timelines on the same project and export different videos as a result? Yes, as a matter of fact, you can even drag and drop one timeline or sequence into another one. So for example, this is what I would typically do in regular video editing. The ones that look like, here, I'll zoom in so you can see it. The ones that look like the little timelines, the little video clips, those are timelines. Or sequences. Those are the ones that look like the actual film strip of a video. Those are regular videos. So these are 2 timelines, and you can drag videos into a sequence like that, or you can even drag a timeline that you've already edited into another video. So that way, now it comes in with all, instead of having all those 50 million clips, it comes in as one piece. So you can then speed it up and do whatever you want to do with it, or apply an effect to it as you want. Does Adobe have specific file naming specifications? I think you mean Adobe Stock, and it does not. The file names are irrelevant because no one's going to see the file names. You're going to go in once you upload those and give it a title and give it keywords. Those are the things that are specific that people will see. The file names are relevant. All right, so anyway, got rid of the wrong thing. Got to get rid of that and get rid of that. Okay, so we'll do another. So that was it for that clip. We've used that clip. We're done with that clip. So we can now go pick a different clip. Let's pick this one. So we'll double click on this one. And let's see if there's anything useful there. Okay, I would say it starts to get useful right about there as I'm now flying over. That looks cool. Ooh, there's a bird flying by. That makes it even better. And I would say maybe to right there. Okay, so we got another useful one. Same thing though, I'm gonna have to make a new timeline because I don't want to mess up the other 2. So I'm just going to right click on this and say new sequence from clip. That'll give me a new new timeline with that clip on it. I can now take that clip off of it because I'm going to put a piece of it from up here. So let's say, again, we're going to start right there as I start to fly in. So that's going to be our endpoint. Ooh, no, that's not our endpoint. That's our endpoint. Endpoint. Look at that bird flying by. Come on, that's golden. That just made it worth, there's another bird flying by. That just made it worth like $20 more. All right, right there where I started to go up a little bit, I would say I would stop. All right, so that would be our out point. And same thing. This one's a lot shorter. This one's, oh, maybe not. 22 seconds. Oh, the timeline's just zoomed in, or zoomed out, I should say. So this one, again, 22 seconds. That's a decent amount of time. So now we can see the curvature a lot more because it's just a different angle of video. And so the question is, does it look better curved? Which it could be accepted either way. I've already submitted one that was curved and it got accepted. Or does it look better flattened? And so in this case, I think it definitely looks better flattened. And it's just scrubbing speed is slow because, again, all the stuff I got running in the background here. But that's just giving me a preview of what the video looks like. I can still see the bird or birds. and that one looks decent. Now I could rotate it and crop it and correct it a little bit more, but I'm going to leave it as is. All right, so that one looks a lot better. So you can see it side by side. So on the left-hand side, you see the curve. On the right-hand side, you see it without the curve. The curve could look cool as an artistic effect. Again, it's just one of those things. Which do you think is going to be more marketable? The person that's the video editor knows how to fix it. The person that's not the video editor may or may not want it. It's a judgment call. So you might submit some with it and some without it. Like I've already submitted some with the curve, and these I'm submitting without the curve. So that way I have a little bit of both of Iceland up. And maybe we'll do the next one with the curve, and that way the person buying the videos would have a choice. $20 per bird. Yep. So there we go. I don't need to do any color correction to this one or any other corrections. It looks good as is. So in this case, same thing. I was about to hit Command M, but we're just going to go ahead and do export to media, and same thing, match, put it out there, and send it over to the queue. So first one's almost done, and this one's ready with a different name, but let's put it in the same folder for Adobe Stock. And that's where it's going to go with a different name, and that's fine. Okay, so that one's almost done. The next two are happening. So it just, again, it just depends, because you never know what the buyer wants, Jan. You never know if the buyer says, wow, you're right, that looks like a cool effect with the curvature. Or the buyer says, I can't use that. The rest of my video is not curved. This will look weird. It just depends. And again, if it's a video editor, they would know how to fix it. If it's not a video editor, they wouldn't know how to fix it. So it just depends on who's going to buy it. So in this case, let's see what else I've got in this particular video. So I go up, I back up a little bit, or I fly backwards. Then I turn, I really turn. I turn around and see all that. And see, I don't know if that's useful. Maybe from that point where it's turning could be a useful clip. All right, I kind of like that. So let's go from the part where there are no people. There I am standing right there next to Scott in a red on the right-hand side. So maybe right there. So we'll make that our new endpoint. And before we drop an out point, I need a new sequence to put this in anyway. So let's do just any of these. New sequence from clip. Get rid of the clip. And now we're going to say, what's our out point going to be? So our out point is going to be, it turns around. So far, it zooms back. All right, I would say maybe to right there. And out point. Okay, so again, take that one in. 30 seconds, 30.21 seconds, so we're under our minute limit, so we're good there. Now see that one, I don't mind the curvature so much. So we'll leave this one as is and just export it. The light in Iceland is stunningly beautiful. Is it really different, or is it just the scenery makes it so? It is really different. You have to see it, because the icebergs, the videos and photos just don't do them justice. Is it better to do the video for the USA and European market? I don't know what that means. What do you mean, is it better to do the video for the USA and European market? I don't know what you mean by that. So give me a little more and I can answer it. All right, so anyway, we're going to go ahead and add this one to the queue. All right, one's done. That's interesting. Why did it give this one? It gave this one a different name for some reason. Oh, I know why. Because I drug the other clip in to make the sequence. That's where it got its name from. Okay, so anyway, we'll put this one in. And it's already got a different name, so that's fine. And again, the names are irrelevant anyway. And let's see if there's any more from this one. I don't think there is. Yeah, just landing. So there's nothing more from that one I need. And oh yeah, I forgot about all of this. Hang on. And even this one. Let's see what this one is. Now this one's got a nice sunset glow off to the right. Okay, I could use that one. I know this one's the waterfall. This is another waterfall one. Let's see what this one looks like. Now, this one's got a ton of people in it, but I don't need model releases from all those people because you can't recognize who those people are. They're too far away. So model release, not necessary in this case. If it were to zoom in and see a person's face, then you would need the model release for that one. Just trying to see if there's anything really usable in this one that I want. Well, maybe that last piece. Hang on. This might be okay. Where it's just going up. I was about to dismiss this whole clip, but this last piece kind of saved it. All right, so start our out point maybe there. And we'll make a new sequence from this one. Get rid of it. And we have our out point. Let's see where we're going to stop it. I don't like that little jerk there where it looks like the wind caught the drone for a second. I would say right about there maybe. Okay, out point. Now, I've been dragging it down to the timeline. You can also drag it over here where it will just insert it for you. 28 seconds, so these are all been around 20 to 30 seconds in length. Curvature doesn't bother me too much on this one. I'd probably leave it as is. But I do want to see what it looks like with the correction. So let's see what the correction looks like on this one. Yeah, I could go either way. I could go with that one being corrected or not. Matter of fact, I'll leave the correction on that one. Okay, so now same thing. Put it in the queue. Yes, Mother Earth is a stunning model. Okay, it's already got a different name because I used a different clip to make the sequence. And we'll put it in the Adobe Stock folder. All right, let's go, and those will all just keep rendering. So it's already on the second one, almost finished. Then it'll just keep going. Let's go take a look at 1100.mp4 and now see how we would upload that one and get it ready for stock. So here, let me go out to the desktop. And for Adobe Stock, and there's the one that's finished. All right, so this one's ready to go. It's 42 megabytes in size. If I play it back, that's what it looks like. See how long 20 or 30 seconds is? Seems like it's taking forever for this, and this is playing back in real time. So a videographer or a person putting this together as part of a larger project's only going to use a few seconds of this anyway. And I'm glad I flattened this one out because it does look better, much more stunning, flattened. Okay, so 22 seconds of that, ready to go. Now, how do I get it up to Adobe Stock? If I go to my Adobe Stock page here, when you click upload, so for those of you who are new, didn't watch it on Friday, so the URL you want to be able to go start doing this is contributor.stock.adobe.com. Oh, I was about to paste it into the wrong spot. Hang on a minute. There we go. So I'm going to paste this in the chat for everybody. How do you upload clips? That's what we're about to do right now. All right, so that's where you would go. Now, notice that this says drag and drop files here. But this is only for stills. If you're going to do videos, see on the right-hand side where it says videos, you have to FTP upload. That means you need an FTP uploader, or an FTP client, I should say, to upload. It doesn't come with that, so you have to go get one for your platform. I use a paid one called Transmit for Mac OS. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of, if not hundreds of FTP clients out there. So there's some for Windows, there's some for Mac. Transmit to me is the best. But use whatever you want. There's some free ones, and you can even, if you're smart enough, you can even do it in the terminal for free. Like the terminal can FTP files. Where do you get your FTP account information? Because you're going to need an FTP server, username, and password. And I learned this on Friday that if you click once you're logged in, if you click the learn more, that's where it will bring up those three pieces of information. I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to expose it any more than I already have. But that will give you your FTP server, your FTP username, and your FTP password for your account. So once you're signed up as a contributor, you go to the upload files thing, and it will be, you just click here to get your account information to do your FTP. Okay. I'm going to go now to my FTP client, which is right there, Transmit. And I've already got my information already keyed in as a favorite now. So I'm just going to double click on it. And I'm now ready to upload. So I'm going to go to the desktop for Adobe Stock. Looks like 2 of them are finished now. Let's go check it just to make sure. Yeah, so the 1100 and the 11,002 are finished. So I can drag both of those in now. And those will begin uploading. So it's uploading those 2 videos to Adobe Stock. Once that upload finishes, again, this will be based on your upload speed. Mine is very slow on this connection. But once those are done, you would then go back to the stock portal, refresh this page, and they would show up here. This is where you're going to do your keywording and your keywording, your titling, picking a category. That's where you're going to basically get it ready to submit. If you needed a model release, that's also where you're going to put it. How do you sign up to be a contributor? You go to contributor.stock.adobe.com, that same URL, and sign up. Or stock.adobe.com/contributor. Or stock.adobe.com and click the sell button in the upper right hand corner. Any way you get to Adobe Stock, when you click on sell or contributor, it will walk you through the process. If you want to go back and watch Friday's episode, then it will show you how to do it all. How do you get those breadcrumbs in the Finder? It's under the View menu. It's a thing you turn on. It's not an app. Jan. So I forgot which one it is, but it's one I turned on a long time ago. Oh, and this is not the Finder. This is Transmit. So if you're talking about these breadcrumbs, this is not the Finder. But you can have breadcrumbs in the bottom of a Finder window by turning it on, I think, in the View or in the Finder preferences, one of the two. All right, so this is cooking along. It's uploading, so I can continue working while all of that's going on in the background. So it's still rendering, still uploading, still working. Everything's happening while we wait. So again, there's probably nothing more left in that particular clip that I would want. There isn't, so I could now go back and keep working. All right, let's do one more, because there is one more clip, this one. This is one I uploaded earlier. And this is one of my favorite ones. And I don't want to upload, of course, the same part of it. Now, I could go back literally to Lightroom where I made that edit. and see what part of it I've already uploaded. Thank you. Yes, in Finder, View, Show Path Bar. That's it. That's how you get the breadcrumbs in the Finder. Where was I going? I was going here to Attribute, and I wanted to see the videos, and I wanted to see that video. And I started literally from 0 over to 13 seconds, if that's the same video. 672. Yes, same video. So, okay, so I've already done the first 13 seconds of this video. I've already submitted to stock, and that first 13 seconds has already been approved. So up to this, roughly this spot. Now, if I want another part of this, which I do, so let's go ahead and new sequence from clip and get rid of that one. All right. So now if I want another part of this video to upload as an additional clip on stock, like the fly back, like right there, we'll say start at that point. So I'm skipping the first part because I've already submitted that on Friday. And we'll go back to this part now. Oh yeah, I love that. All right, so before it turns, maybe even the turning's not bad. Yeah, turning's not bad. It's smooth. I would say to right there. All right. So another 17 seconds out of that. And again, let me see it with and without the curvature correction. So that's with the curve. That's without the curve. The first one I submitted has the curve in it because I wasn't able to correct that in Lightroom. I gotta wait for this to refresh, ready for it to catch up. Yeah, I think I like this one without the curve. So that way they'll have a choice. They'll have two clips from this scene, one with the curvature, one without it. Okay, so again, same thing. We'll submit this one to the queue. Command M normally, but I'll show it to you under the menu. All right, good, good, good. 17 seconds, queue it up. And let's go ahead and put this in the right folder so it'll be there when it's done. You asked the moderators for posting links. So if the moderator, I don't have a problem with it. What is it? What's emerge image? What is that? So tell us what that is before you post the link. Okay, so at the end of the day, we'll have 6 videos. I'm going to stop here with the video part of it because we're already past an hour. But I'll have 6 new videos to upload to stock by the time this is done. Now again, if you're not a videographer, doesn't matter. I don't consider myself to be a videographer either. I'm a photographer that shoots video. But as long as you can capture a good 5 to 60 seconds of something useful, why not turn that into a potential money-making opportunity with Adobe Stock? I was already going to Iceland to shoot stills. I'm happy with the stills that I shot. I printed them, mounted them on my wall, made photo books, the whole 9 yards. But if I can say, while I'm there, send a drone up and fly and shoot, 20 seconds here, 30 seconds there, a minute there, and then come back and upload that to Adobe Stock, 5 to 60 seconds of it here and there, and make 35% of what those videos sell for, I already have the camera in my hand, I'm already shooting, I'm already there. Flip the video mode for a few seconds and shoot, and then go back to what you were doing. The videos on Adobe Stock sell for a lot more than the stills. The stills, and this is, again, we're not talking about subscription pricing. If you're not a subscriber to Adobe Stock and you want to go buy a single still, it's average price $9.99, $9.99. Videos, on the other hand, are $79. So 33% of $10 versus 35% of $80. Big difference for a few seconds more of your time. Is that a good picture for Adobe Stock? Okay, so let me see your link here. All right, so let me bring this over. So the question that Dom's Production is asking is this a good picture for Adobe Stock? And I'm going to say, and I don't want to be harsh or anything, but I'm going to say no for a couple of reasons. Number one, you've got brand names in there. Mobile gas station over there on the left-hand side that you'd have to take out. There's someone's license plate in front of the car you'd have to blur out or remove. You've got telephone lines or phone lines going across the shot. You've got an object in the upper left-hand corner there that is, I don't even know what that is. I guess it's the rear view mirror of the car. What would someone buy this to do or show? So this just looks like you were taking a nice photo of the sky out of your car window, but you got all this other stuff in the way. So no one's really looking at the sky because they're looking at all the other things that's distracting them from the sky. Beautiful sky, yes, absolutely. And had you got out of the car and taken a shot of the sky past those lines or before you got to the lines, then yes, you'd have a good shot for stock. But as is, this is not a good shot for stock. I see 7-Eleven over there on the right-hand side. So this would never get approved because of all the brand names. So no, not in this case. It could be if you had gone out and shot just the sky and maybe got that one little lone street light in it. But with everything else distracting you from the bottom here, I can't see anyone that would want to license that image for that reason. But good question. And hopefully I addressed it properly. Okay, let's see where our FTP upload is. It looks like it's done. And we got another one we can be uploading in the meantime. Looks like 31 is done as well. 31 and 19 are done. Yes, both of these are done. So we can get both of these going as well. So now let's go back to the portal and let's refresh this page. Does Adobe notify you when someone or if someone bought your image or clip? Do they return or refund? There's no returns or refunds that I know of, and yes, you do get notified. Okay, so here's what happens once your video or images have been uploaded, and they're ready. They're not submitted yet, but they're ready to be indexed. They're ready to be keyworded. They're ready to be titled. They're ready to be, made ready to upload. So in this case, they're just sitting in your queue, ready for you to finish the process. That's why they both say incomplete, because they're missing things. So you can either do them one at a time. So each one you click on, you can do one at a time. Or you can select all of them if they're all similar and you just want to go ahead and put in the same keywords for both of them. So, yep, don't show again. I got it. All right, so title. And the title, again, I wouldn't put a lot of credence to the title because what people are really searching for are the keywords. The title is just simply what shows up once they download the image, and it shows up in their, like, for example, on the desktop or the Creative Cloud library, they see your title, but it's not really that big of a thing. Is this a more secure file transfer than regular upload? Okay, Jan's asking, FTP, is this a more secure file transfer system than regular upload? FTP is used, it can be, I mean, there's secure FTP, but in this case, FTP is used simply because video files are bigger and there's less issues with uploading bigger files via FTP than trying to do it via a web browser. That's the main reason why Stock wants video to be uploaded via FTP. And is a dedicated FTP app hard to configure? Nope, you put in 3 pieces of information. The server name, your username, and your password, and click connect. So most FTP programs are very easy to use. And like I was able to save mine as a preset or a favorite, so that I wouldn't have to put that information in ever again. I just double click on it and connect, and then drag my files in. That's how easy it is to configure. It takes all of 2 seconds. Matter of fact, I did it on Friday. I put it off camera for a second and did it, and then came back and I was ready to go. Okay, so anyway, back to indexing these 2 video files. So we've got 2 files ready to be indexed, and these are Iceland, or no, Gullfoss water. Is it 2 L's? I think it's 2 L's. Iceland. Again, the title's not as important as these keywords. Category is definitely important. So this is the landscape. And does it have any recognizable people? No, which makes it much easier because I don't need a model release. All right, so now all I have to do is deal with the keywords themselves. Now, it says replace with, which means it probably put in some keywords individually. So it, based on what it could detect the video or image was, it put in 5 generic keywords for you. You need a minimum, okay, yep, got it. You need a minimum of, or it might have picked them up from the, no, it wouldn't have, never mind. You need a minimum of 5 keywords, but 5 keywords is really not enough. So, cool. Thanks, Jan. I did not know that. Yes, and that's another good point, Tasty Graph, is that FTP supports resume transfer in the event that you or receiver lost connection to the internet. Web-based apps often don't. So that's why, again, for bigger files, it's just easier, nicer, better to do it via FTP. Anyway, so back to the keywords. You need 5 minimum. You can't submit it without at least 5, but 5 is really not enough because 5 really probably doesn't describe your scene well enough for people to be able to search for it. You can put in a maximum of 50. How many do I recommend? I recommend at least 30 to 35. Because then if you put it in that many, you got enough to where I think your image or video will be found. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's really about. If I only put in these 5, then my videos or images may never be seen by anyone because they're searching for other things that I could have put in, but I didn't. Green grass, rocks, mountains in there. But all of the things that I'm seeing right now, plus all of the things that people may want to, may be searching for that aren't necessarily describing the exact things we see. So where can I get some more keywords other than typing them in? So for example, I can type them in. And again, we can do these individually or paste them all in one. Let's do them together. So I can do them one by one. So we're going to say water, fall, Iceland. We have Gullfoss in the title, so that would show up. Drone, fly, over. And so as I'm tabbing to the next field, it's just going ahead and putting those in. Mountain. Your first 5 are also the most important. So if you come up with a really great keyword later, move it up to the first 5. Is it easier to write the keywords in Lightroom and then just copy them into Adobe Stock site? If you put them in Lightroom, they automatically come over. So yes, it is easier to put them in Lightroom. It didn't come over because these didn't come from Lightroom. These came from Premiere Pro. But all the stills we did on Friday, the keywords came over. Matter of fact, we put all the keywords in Lightroom. So yes, that is easier. Now, if you want to go get your keywords from another site like I showed on Friday, there's a nice micro stock tool site for keywords. This one that will help you generate more keywords. So for example, Iceland waterfall. If I search for it, now, of course, it doesn't really matter if it's a video or not, but it's searching for photos up to 100 that match my description that are already on stock, different stock sites around the world. So then what I can do is say, okay, now that I kind of see what's already here, let me see if I can find the Gulf Falls waterfall, if I see it anywhere in here. It doesn't matter if I find it or not, but if I at least find one of those, that will help. That might be it. So I'm just clicking on ones that are the Gulf Falls waterfall or similar to it. Like that, there's one. Okay, that's one. Now I can, and there's another one. I can search for, and there's another one. I didn't see them coming down, but I'm seeing them going up. I can use other waterfall images because what I'm trying to get are keywords from these images that were used to bring up these images. So maybe that one, even though it's not Gulf Falls. I got enough Gulf Falls ones to not worry about it. All right, and that one. Okay, so now that I got a few images selected, I'll go ahead and hit submit. And it will show me all the keywords that were used to bring up those images. And I'll copy this URL for people in the chat. There you go. That's the site I'm on now. So I already did water. I didn't do nature. See, that was one I didn't do. I think I did Iceland already. Landscape, landmark, cascade, spray, all the things I wasn't thinking about. Flow, rock. I did rock already, I think. Stream. Outdoors, majestic. Sky. Sunset. It was sunset. I did mountain already. Attraction, spectacular. So we're up to 13 already. Tourism, tourist, canyon, let's see, dramatic, Icelandic, it doesn't really have a glacier in this one. Romantic, things that people might search for when they're looking to buy something. Clouds. Formation. I think I got missed already, but just in case. Gulf Falls. Motion. Natural. Beautiful, powerful, flowing, vivid, magical. Gorge is good. It is a gorge. Falling, glacial. All right, so that's 33 keywords right there. I may not be able to paste this many in at one time, but let's see. So when I click to select, I don't think it may not let me paste in that many, but let's go back. And you paste, and you hit tab. It will put them all in. So the first time I did that and I didn't hit tab. I didn't think it was working. So it cut it off at whatever was after tourism because it was too many. So let's go back. Tourism, tourist. Okay, so it missed all these. Oh no. Oh, see, it's not going to let me only select the ones I want. See, how can I do this? I can paste it into another field and then just take off the ones I don't need. Let's see. Yeah, you can only paste so many words or so many characters into that box is the problem. So let's see, we left off on tourist. There we go. Okay. And paste and tab, and now we got the rest. Okay, so now we got 40 keywords all together. Let me go back up to the top and see if I like any of the ones I did better to be my top 5, and I don't think so. We got drone, we got flyover, They already know it's going to be a video because they're searching for videos. All right, that's it. So now both of those have the same keywords. And if I save my work now, they should turn green instead of blue. So they're not incomplete anymore. They're ready. They both have 40 keywords. There's no people in them. They have the title. They have the category. They're ready to be submitted now for approval. So when I hit submit, double checking just to make sure, yes, I want to submit both of those videos. And now they go into my queue of in review. So these are the stills that I still have in review, and now I have 2 new videos in review. What in review means is that these are waiting to be moderated. They're waiting to be looked at, to be judged by quality. Make sure you've got keywords in, make sure you follow all the rules, make sure you have model releases. In the case of these, because they're people, make sure I didn't keyword spam, so I put in a bunch of keywords that don't really relate to these images, to make sure they're high enough resolution, make sure they're all the right things. And then once they're reviewed, they will move out of this category and move into the portfolio area to show all of your content. So 2 new ones just popped in because these are the 2 I just uploaded that were done with the media encoder. The media encoder has 1 more left to do. So we'll let that one finish and then we can upload it and keep going. But you get the idea. So this is how the process works. And I guess I can go ahead and keyword these and go ahead and move them. So now this one brought over 5 keywords automatically. Sea, bay, harbor, boat, city. I wouldn't use any of those. I could use the same ones, but they wouldn't relate to this. This is not a waterfall anymore. So we need new ones. So again, we're going to select both of these. Iceland, ice, lagoon, flyover is my title. I should have used flyover in the other one too, but I didn't. Category, landscapes, no people in it. And then we got to go ahead and replace the keywords. All right, so let's go get some more keywords. Oh, I keep wanting to go out of this browser. We're going to go back, start over. No models in this one, and we're going to search for ice lagoon, which, as you can see, I've done this before. Can you see my portfolio? Sure. It's really not a portfolio. It's just all the stuff I have available in stock. So I don't like, they use the word portfolio. So I don't necessarily call it a portfolio. They do. All right. I just wonder if anyone in here. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and select images that are similar to the video I'm about to submit. Stuff like, ooh, that's a cool video, or a cool shot, by the way. Yeah, it's more like that kind of stuff. All right. All right, I think that's enough to give me the keywords I need. Submit. Comes back, gives me keywords. Okay, so we're going to do Iceland, we're going to do lagoon, we're going to do, we do travel. Arctic, landscape, nature, ice, glacier, snow, frozen, ocean, cold, beauty, blue, water, white, Icelandic, sky, sunset, iceberg, glacial, all these are good. Tourism, beautiful, sea, black sand, yes, melting, scenic. All right, I don't know how many characters I've got so far. We're going to stop here for now. Let's paste these in first. I'll keep going out of that. Yeah, see, it's still stopped on melting. All right, so melting didn't get put in. Everything after, I keep doing that. Everything after melting. Yep. So melting from melting beach, sand, and scenic. I can pretty much figure that out. Melting beach, sand, and scenic. All right. Now, do I want more? Keep doing that. Sorry about that. I like serene and peaceful. Dun, 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 dun. Magic. Inspiration. Romantic. Reflection. Tranquility. All right. So I left off at scenic. So let's copy this. Again, go to my text editor, paste it in, and get rid of all the other stuff that's already there. Copy. All right. Okay. So those two look like they're ready to go. Iceland. No, now see, I don't like the order though. So for example, I want lagoon. Okay, lagoon's up there. So we're going to move that one to be number 2. I want iceberg up there for sure. So I'm going to shoot that one up to the top. I can drag it down later. I want glacial and sunset. So I definitely want those to be in the top 5. So I would say Iceland's going to be number 1, lagoon's going to be number 2, iceberg's going to be number 3, sunset number 4, glacial number 5. Then the rest are fine. And I would even put Arctic as number 6. Okay, and then the rest are fine. Your top 5 are your most important, so you want those to be the ones that count. All right, so we'll save the work. And we just submitted 2 more videos for Adobe Stock. So they're now in the approval, waiting for a review in the approval queue. So we'll go back to new. There shouldn't be anything there because we haven't uploaded anything yet. And if we go back to Media Encoder's done. So it's now waiting for the last 2, which is 264 and 672. Actually, I want this. So these last 2 need to be uploaded. Okay, so here's what I want to do next. I want to, and we'll, so you kind of got the video process. I've done this now. Let's go in now and work with a still. We'll work with a new still that I just took the other night. And we'll actually do a little bit of graphic design work with it. So for example, let's head back, we'll head to Lightroom. We'll head to a collection I have called Adobe Stock. Adobe Stock Demo. We'll go down to these moon shots that I did the other night. So now, the problem with shooting the moon, especially if it's not like big and hanging right in front of you, is that you end up with a shot that's really, really far away. That's what I did. This is the one time where megapixels matter. This is like one of those times where having a high megapixel camera can help you. Because if you're shooting something that's really far away, and that's like you just don't have a lens that can get any closer. This is a 200 millimeter lens, and I wish I'd shot it. I didn't think about it at the time. I could have at least shot it with my 300 millimeter lens. That would have got me a little closer. But even in any case, I would have still been, that would have been 100 millimeters closer. It still wouldn't have been as big as I wanted it to be. Now I ended up getting it this big because all I simply did was crop it. I just basically cropped down to that much of it to where I would still be able to still have a fairly decent size image to maybe not print super large, but at least share on social media. So that went all the way from a 7,360 wide image down to an 1,800 pixel image, which 1,850 is great for, or 1850 is great for, no, 1080 is great for Instagram. So plenty of resolution for social media, not super large for print. So in a case where you had like this was a 36 megapixel camera, a 50 megapixel camera, or even bigger, that means you can crop that much more and still have more resolution for printing. That's where resolution does matter. But in this case, let's say I wanted to put together something for stock as a graphic design. Maybe I want to do a happy Halloween graphic design since Halloween's coming up. I want to use my moonshot, but if I start with this one, it's too small. So let's go ahead and start with one of the other ones, like this one, where it is still, it's not cropped. It's still the, or you know what? Here, let me see if I can do it this way. Because I've already made the adjustments to this one. Let's see if I can do this. Let's make a virtual copy of it. Let's go back to the crop. Yeah, let's reset the crop. All right, let's just not crop into it yet. Or here, let's just reset it. There we go. All right, so now this one's got all the adjustments, but not cropped. Okay, so now I want to go ahead and edit that image and make a happy Halloween with, some spooky stuff and make that image ready for stock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this in Photoshop. So I just hit Command E or right click Edit in Photoshop. That will take a copy of this over to Photoshop, ready to go. And now it's its full resolution 36 megapixel size with a small moon. Now I can still take that and I can, as long as I don't go crazy, I can, free transform it and make it a little larger. And still have a decent enough image to use. You know what? Let me zoom out instead of doing this piecemeal. All right. That should still hold its quality at least enough for what I'm going to do. If I now zoom in on that, yeah, see, that still looks decent. Perfect. All right, so now I got a decent sized moon in the upper right hand corner that I shot. And now I want to go ahead and put in some type. This is Happy Halloween, but we're going to do some cool things with a new layer on the moon itself. So let's go to a new layer. Let's go ahead and grab paintbrush. Let's bring up the brushes panel here, and let's find something funky to work with. Something like that. Or no, maybe something more like, looks better small. All right. That will just keep it small. Okay, so we'll get a nice red color here. And we're going to zoom in. And we'll grab our Wacom stylus here. Go. Here, okay, so now I know what I want to do. Let's do this. So now we got our 3 red stripes on the moon. And we'll fade the opacity back of that layer just a little bit. Kind of blend it in. There we go. All right, so next thing I want is I want another new layer. And we'll do another new layer, and this one we're going to do our dead tree. On our dead tree layer, we're going to go up to our filter menu, render tree. And we need something a little scarier than a palm tree. So how about a nice oak, and with let's kill it. There we go. We get our nice dead oak tree. All right. Now by putting that on its own layer, we can of course move that around now and have that anywhere we need it to be. Okay, and same thing here. We're going to go back to our red stripe layer. Same brush. Oh, we got to send this one to the back. Go. We're going to have our little pool of blood down there. All right, got that. And next up, we'll do our Happy Halloween. We need something else, but let's do our Happy Halloween first. All right, so we got our Happy Halloween. Let's go ahead and make it a different font. Or you know what? Let's do it this way. So we can kind of see the way it looks before we commit to it. You know what? I want to filter for just my typekit fonts. There we go. I kind of like that one. All right, we'll leave it on that. I'll make that larger. And we'll just a little bit. Where's my? Just warp this one a little bit. Maybe a little less. And go back to our red stripe layer. Something along the lines of that. Okay. Nope. Liked it better the other way. Okay, so let's say that's going to be our design. No, I'm not creative. I'm just playing this as we go along. So do you use this Wacom tablet as a monitor when you're doing these things? Yes, I do. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. The only other thing I would say, okay, I'm happy. So what I'm doing here is obviously creating a happy Halloween message, but also leaving space for anyone that would license this image if they want to put their own message on it or their own thing on it. So I'm leaving what's called copy space for it. All right, so anyway, we've got this kind of ready to go. And, oh, you know what? Almost ready to go. Hang on. One more thing. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. But it just feels better that way. Okay, so now that we got this ready to go, we'll save it. And because we originated this from Lightroom, it will, even though the original image was just the moon, it's going to come back to Lightroom as a layered file with all of this stuff already in it, ready to go. So we'll give it a few seconds to save. Come on, save, save, save. You can't see it, but behind me it says saving 31%, 32%. I don't know what's taking it this long to creep along at this spot, but it got like, it zoomed up to 31% and then stopped. 32, 33. All right, while we're waiting for that to save, we got like 10 minutes left. Let's pop back over to the browser because those other two videos I've uploaded. We'll refresh this page and they're ready to go as well. This one is more of the ice lagoon, so in theory we could have pasted those same keywords in. Let's see if we still have, we don't have all of them because, oh no, we have all of them. Good, okay. So we can at least get the keywords from this one. And let's see. So now I'm not selecting both of them because they're two different things. So Iceland, Ice Lagoon, flyover, got it. And let's see here. We're going to go ahead and paste those in. And then we still have should have the notepad still open for the rest. I know I missed a couple, but that's okay. I know I missed the word melting. All right, landscapes. And no, it doesn't have any people in it. And save. All right, let's see if the other one's done before we worry about the waterfall. Okay, save's done. I can close this now. So when I head back to Lightroom, it comes over with everything that we just did. So that's in Lightroom now with everything that we want. So now the person asked the question of, well, is it better to do my keywords in Lightroom? And I said yes. So for example, I typically make a virtual copy before I do this. That way I don't have to worry about messing with my original. So I'm going to stick to that process. We'll make a virtual copy, Command quote, and then I'll send that virtual copy over to my Adobe Stock area of Lightroom. So Adobe Stock can now be submitted directly from Lightroom. So there it is. And now this is the one we're going to keyword. So we're going to say Happy Halloween is going to be the title. And we don't worry about a caption, but we do worry about keywords. So we get rid of the keywords it originally had, and we can go to our keyword tool to come up with some new ones. So we'll start again. Happy Halloween. Submit. That will find all kinds of Happy Halloween things. You know what? Let me go back and do one more. Let me add one more word to it, see if that will narrow it down. Happy Halloween moon. See if that adds anything to the mix. Yeah, okay, it brings up images with the moon in it, but at least that helps. Okay, so, ooh, that one's close. It's got a dead tree. I just don't have the bats. What else here looks like mine? That's kind of creepy like mine. I could have said Happy Halloween, moon, and tree to even narrow it down more. So you can kind of see a similar theme going, oh, I could have put the tree in front of my moon. I should have done that. So I could go back and do another version with the tree in front of the moon now that I've seen that. I don't really have any pumpkins in mind because I know if I select any of these with pumpkins, it's just going to give me a bunch of pumpkin keywords. I don't have a witch in mind, so let's just go with what we've got so far and see what keywords come up. All right, so we'll submit those, the ones we just did. Let's see what keywords come up for this. All right, so we get the idea. We want dark, happy, spooky, moon, night, holiday, tree, background, black, Halloween. I didn't really do orange. Scary, design. I don't have an owl in mind. Silence, sky, mystery. We can do fall in October, sure. Darkness. Creepy, danger, gothic. Now, if there's a keyword you just don't see, you can, of course, just go in and type it in so you don't forget it, like blood, red. All right, so those will be added. All right, so let's go with those so far. We've got those. Copy. Head over to Lightroom and paste them in. All right, so that's the ones we got so far. Oh, by the way, I forgot. We don't have to worry about a limit here because we can paste them all into Lightroom at one time. So haunted. We can do graveyard. We can do dead. Composition. Death. Celebrate. And also I'm going to add in a couple more. I'm going to add in background and isolate it. Okay. So now I've got my keywords. Let's go ahead and select them all. Let's replace the ones we did in Lightroom so far. Select all, view, paste, go. All right, so now we have our keywords in, we have our title in, and now we can just go ahead and hit publish. Do you need Lightroom? Because I don't have much time to learn how to use it. No, you don't need Lightroom. You can submit directly from the website. You can submit via FTP. You can submit via Adobe Bridge. You can submit via Lightroom. I use Lightroom, so that's why I'm using Lightroom to submit. But you can submit your Adobe Stock several different ways, and you don't ever have to use Lightroom unless you want to. All right, so that's making this PSD into a JPEG at whatever resolution it needs. And then it's uploading that, of course, as a flattened JPEG to Adobe Stock. Once that upload is complete, it will give me this message, which I will continue over to Adobe Stock to that same new area. And now it's giving me this one in addition to the video that's ready to go with 29 keywords. Incomplete. All right, so the title came over, Happy Halloween. Keywords came over, all of them came over, but maybe not in the order I want them in. So for example, I would definitely want Halloween up top. I would want moon, if it's not already up there. Yep, the moon's already up there. So I would say we want, where's happy? Happy up there as well. And blood. We'll do our fake blood up there as well. And let's see, is that enough for the top 5? No, I need one more. We'll do creepy. Or no, tree. There we go, tree. All right, so those will be my top 5 keywords. Now I'll put them in the order I want them in. Happy, Halloween, moon, tree, blood. Okay, and then the rest are fine. All right, what category does it go in? It can go into graphic resources because it's like a background. Does it have any recognizable people? No. All right, so I'll save my work. So in my last 2 minutes here, 2 of these are ready to go. Of course, I have to go keyword this one, but now I can submit the 2 that are ready for approval. So I'll go ahead and submit those 2. They go into the waiting to be approved or in the review area. And then when I go to new, there's only 1 left to do. So again, we would go back, find the keywords for Iceland waterfall and submit that last one. So let's see if I can do that in the last minute or so. Iceland waterfall, submit. And these are similar. That's actually from the same spot. All right, so we get our keywords from those. Quickly. All right, let's grab those for now. Sorry about that. And we'll give it, again, the title isn't as important. Remember, that's the video. And I'll just go ahead and put these up here. We already have waterfall, so we don't need it twice. Make sure my top 5 are what I want. One more. Oh, I know what I want to be in the top 5. Drone. All right, save my work. And, oh no, what did I forget? Oh, I forgot category landscapes, and I'm out of time, I'm out of time, I'm out of time. Landscapes, and no, it doesn't have anybody, and save, and submit, and that's my time. Thanks, everybody. All right, so that's it. That's how you would submit. Sid, you're up next, and I'm going to let you take it away. Thanks, everybody.